You all ready for Halloween? The Day of the Dead? We are. We are already here on Big Blend Radio. You know, our Big Daily Blend show every fourth Sunday, we have Joey Stuckey on the show. He's an amazing musician, singer, songwriter, recording artist, producer, the ambassador of music for Macon, Georgia, which is the capital of Southern music. I mean, it goes on and on, Joey. Go to joeystuckey.com. All the links we talk about on the show, as usual, are listed and linked in the episode notes. But welcome back, Joey. How is life in Macon, Georgia?
Oh, it's fantastic. We're doing great down here.
Are you making bacon?
Weather. Always. Actually, so Macon Bacon's the name of our baseball team. And,
really?
It is. And we play the Savannah Bananas, a lot. And, but we also, interestingly enough, every Friday is Bacon Day in the Stuckey household, and we make bacon for bacon sandwiches. That's our big thing on Fridays. Yeah, on Fridays we make bacon in the house. So it's something.
Nancy wants to move in.
Well, come on.
Coming over.
Coming
over.
Pick me up on the way.
Yeah, come on.
Everyone, Joe Clark is here. She's a travel writer, food, wine travel writer. Go to haveglasswilltravel.com and recipestravelculture.com. You want to go there because she's got a great article, also linked in the episode notes, on Halloween candy and how to pair it with what wine. So it's a really cool article. And, I'm getting hungry and thirsty and I'm ready for this. I feel like it's a Halloween happy hour, more than the Big Daily Blend, but, Nancy's here and I think we've got a special guest that might pop out in a little bit here, but we are going to close the show, with our annual airing of Steve Schneickert's Hollywood history that is all about Halloween. So, when you think about all the Halloween movies, it can go from everything from aliens doing things to humans. They may be within us now. I mean, we're just thinking.
I could name two.
Do you think aliens are scary? Let's go to you, Joe. Do you think aliens belong in the Halloween makeup of freaky and creepy?
Most of them. I mean, E.T. was kind of cute, but most of the others are pretty creepy.
What about you, Joey?
Yeah, I think anything that's fanciful belongs in Halloween. I remember as a young man, I came up with a brilliant idea to find attractive women. I was going to dress up as a bagel and then try to get two attractive women to be a toaster.
Hello.
You're so bad.
I really am.
The Joey Stuckey sandwich.
Absolutely. But I actually just recently, it's funny because that's what I tried in my 20s. And then just recently, I just to entertain my sweet wife, I came in the room dancing around as a bagel, and just sort of pretended I had a costume on. So I used my arms as the bagel part, or sort of over my head. And so I was a dancing bagel for my wife just to entertain her.
If you put bacon on the bagel, that's a good thing.
You can have, listen, bagels pair with anything. Well, I do think aliens belong in the Halloween tradition. I mean, I think I guess it kind of depends, but I mean, for sure, like gremlins are little aliens to me. They're not of this world, but I love the movie Alien and Aliens, and always thought that'd be a cool costume to wear. But I would say, my costumes for Halloween have always been more whimsical and silly than scary. That's for two reasons. Partly that's my nature, is to be silly and just I like innuendos and puns and stuff like that. And partly it's a lot easier on the old, like if you're not a gifted, seamstress, it's like, it's easier to do something stupid than something of quality. So,
Good point.
Well, this is, to me, interesting and fun. So, I'm glad you're that way, Joey, because you've put up with Nancy and I for a number of years now.
I know.
I mean, and then you even put up with us when we came out to meet with you, and we actually finally got to meet the Joey Stuckey. I'm just saying.
It was a pleasure and a privilege. It was great.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Fun.
And yeah, I love that. And Joe, I don't know, we might be able to see you on our way back to Savannah. We never know.
So.
Oh, because we might have to actually try this pairing, because when we were in Georgia, when we were in Peachtree City with our good friends Phil and Andrea, and I think we talked about this on a previous show, had this little tub of candy corn or corn candy, whatever you call it here.
Candy corn.
Candy corn. Nancy loves it.
Yes.
But
Me
she
too.
goes around singing corn candy. So candy corn's hard for me to switch over, but
it goes really good with Prosecco.
I was going to ask you, that was my question, was what wine goes good with candy corn?
But they mixed it with peanuts.
All of them. All of them.
Chardonnay, Viognier,
all
Prosecco.
of those with candy corn.
Yeah.
But,
Joe, I'm sorry.
But they're mixing it with peanuts, salted peanuts. So it tastes like the corn candy corn, and peanuts together in a bowl.
It's like
and I
mix.
took one hand, yes, and I went, why haven't we been eating this all the time on the road snack? This tastes like a payday bar, 100%. So I think with the Prosecco, what Joe's talking about, this is like the perfect. I mean, that sugar are you kidding me?
Yeah, a little bit of salt. Yum.
Ooh, that's
Joe,
the perfect electrolytes.
How do you figure out, what's your scientific process to figure out the pairing of candy with different wines?
She drinks.
Tasting. I drink. That's right. I drink.
That's great.
Popcorn. One that I found last year, popcorn, and you melt the candy corn and drizzle it over your popcorn.
Wow. That sounds good.
No,
that
but I didn't even know
with a Chardonnay.
I always said candy corn or corn, whatever. Corn candy. It's corn candy to me. I always thought it was, because we didn't have that growing up in South Africa. Nancy always kept talking about it. It was like one of the first things to do when we got to this country was have corn candy. And that was a big treat. And watch The Exorcist and watch the Rocky Horror, because it was all banned in South Africa where we were before here. And, but anyway, corn candy, I always thought it tastes like wax. It's like,
No.
It's like sugar wax.
How much wax have you eaten?
Yeah, really. Do you?
I know. I mean, we used to eat those wax lips, and they used to make those orange wax harmonicas.
Oh, I remember those.
Remember those?
Yeah.
Remember those Lucky Strike candies?
Oh, definitely.
The cigarette. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what was that? What was that all about? Giving kids candy cigarettes. Who did that? Oh,
and
everybody.
By the way, don't smoke.
Oh my gosh. We're recording this in North Carolina where tobacco was king.
But that's why the cigarettes were popular. All the adults and all the people on TV smoked, so kids wanted to smoke. So we had those candy cigarettes.
And it was very sexy.
It was totally sexy.
Very sexy to smoke.
Till somebody around me lit one, and I couldn't stand the smoke. I'm allergic to smoke.
Yeah, me too.
But so you can have the candy one as a witch and look like a sexy witch with a candy cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool.
All I need is one of those rhinestone cigarette holders.
Absolutely.
Oh,
cool.
If I could only find my mother's.
Oh, that was
my mother had one.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So let's talk movies. Okay. The most freakiest movie you've ever seen that is perfect to watch on Halloween. Let's go. Nancy, what's your freakiest movie you've ever seen that really freaked you out?
The one where Frankenstein gets up, because there's so many Frankenstein movies, but he gets up and he goes, I'm alive, I'm alive.
That sounded great.
That was good.
But that's what he did. He got up and he started walking around, and the doctor had put him together, went, holy, you know what? Because he was alive, and that's what the doctor was trying to do. And I think he had a little second thought right there. Frankenstein was huge. I mean, here's this person, not really a person, full of dead body parts sewed together that's twice as tall as you and going, I'm alive.
Yeah.
Well, this is cool.
I think it's funny. I mean, it's a great story.
So basically, it's not always about being scared. It's just funny too. Like the Day of the Triffids to me is one of the funniest and best movies on the planet, where the plants come after you and you hear them go clack, 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 clack.
Yeah.
You know, Joe, what about you? What's the freakiest, whether it's freaky, funny, freaky, scary, freakiest movie for you?
I think Beetlejuice is the perfect Halloween movie because it's not so scary. I don't like the real creepy
Daylight come and we want to go home. Am I going to get in trouble for royalties now?
No, that was under 30 seconds.
Oh, good. Joey, what about you? Come on.
Pocus is good.
Hocus Pocus.
Oh, that is a good. Yeah. Well, I'm a real weenie when it comes to scary movies, even though I can't see them. You know,
wait a minute, he's got weenies and bagels. Wait a minute, weenies, bagels, and bagels and corn going on.
Halloweenies.
Halloweenies?
Halloweenies, yes. You know, roast them.
I don't normally date a Halloweenie, but anyway, yes, Vic, sorry.
So I mean, I'm not a big fan of the scary movies. I got enough issues that I don't need any more. And but I like The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I think is a classic, sweet movie. But I'd have to say, we've talked about this before. But I have to say, the Rocky Horror Picture Show is one of my favorites, and for many, many reasons. But the music is fantastic, and it's just a fun thing to watch on Halloween. It's a lot of fun.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I like the title, The Great Pumpkin. I could find that somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Good. Well, the Rocky Horror Picture Show to me is like, it's so iconic. And, you know, when it was banned in South Africa until right before we left. And then Nancy had them on the cast that was from the Sydney Opera House came over. And they were doing it. They were in the theater in Port Elizabeth. So we saw the play and I never saw the movie.
Well,
until afterwards.
I'm very partial to the movie. Well, so here's the weird thing. So I'd always heard of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but had never seen it. And then I got hired to be the musical director for it at a college production of it. Cool. And so then I had to go watch the movie, and I loved it. And I was like, why did it take me so long to watch this thing? And so the Broadway musical soundtrack is also really excellent. So there's when we did the show, there are several shows in the Broadway play or the play version that don't end up in the film version. And we did the whole thing. So I had to listen to both soundtracks, and I borrowed, as the music director, I borrowed very liberally from both and kind of came up with our own sound. And it was an interesting time because I was in a wheelchair at the time. And it was in terrible pain as I had something called a vascular necrosis, where my hip basically just sort of crumbled into dust. And it was really, and I couldn't walk, and I was, and the doctor said, well, it took me a year because I was misdiagnosed for a year, this whole thing. But finally I found the doctor said, well, you need to have the surgery today. Like, what are you doing? Like, next week. And I was like, well, I'm directing this musical. I really don't want to let them down. So I stayed in the wheelchair an extra 2 months, I think it was, or 3 months. Just to fulfill my commitment. But this is back in 2002, and I wanted people to be able to rehearse at home, and I had made new arrangements of some of the songs, and so I had to sit in my wheelchair at home, and I'm a very low-sided adequate piano player, and play the piano and record all these piano parts and make instrumental versions of all the songs so that the cast could practice at home. And I made them CDs so they could go home and practice, and sing all their parts. And it's the whole thing. But the other reason this movie is so important to me is this is when I met my wife. And this was our courtship. This was our dating, was her taking me to play practice. Yeah. It was great. I mean, just and the entire cast got involved in, when I, and like, are you going to ask me to marry you? And, this whole thing, it was just a little, it was cool because it was a little community. It was just a little community of the cast, and it was so much, and the musicians, and it was so much fun. And it was basically my band that played in the orchestra pit, essentially. And so I was directing I was a musical director, and then also I was the sound designer. So I designed all the sound effects, and then I also played guitar in the orchestra pit live. And so it was just a beautiful time. And so Rocky Horror is always sentimental for me, and then also just on its own an outstanding, fun film and or musical. So whichever one you can see.
It broke the mold in South Africa when they came. I went, it was like, for me at that time, I was starting to work for Nancy. I'd just come out of high school pretty much. I think I was 18 and 18, 19, because I got to the States when I was 19. Yeah. And this is the late 90s and mid 90s. Geez, I don't know what. Yeah. Mid 90s. Ooh, before that, maybe 93, 94. And,
you're getting younger by the day.
Yeah. And listen, hey, I climbed that hill. They put me up there. I'm on the top of the hill. Anyway, so when they came, they did this whole theatrical thing, and I love the movie, but I was really disappointed going to how the movie was done in theaters here, where people are doing the water pistols and everybody's enjoying it. But after seeing a true theatrical Broadway style production, which was just, it blew my mind. And that's why
it was awesome.
I mean, I went to every single production, got to know all the actors, the musicians, and did like my first story. And that was the end of the magazine. We had to come home, but because stuff was going on in South Africa at the time. And it was really weird to see half of the people come up dressed in, Rocky Horror Show, drag and everything, because it's a very, it's not like that in South Africa very much. And it's changed.
Yeah.
It's, it's a very, anti a lot of things. And so it was really this change that had happened, which was beautiful. But we were going to start a second magazine in Cape Town, and she was in Port Elizabeth, and I was going to open Cape Town because it had more of a art scene and do more of an arts magazine and everything. And then, we had to get our butts out and come home, and we did. And then I almost went to musical theater because of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, wow.
That experience. When we got to Florida, I went we left South Africa with nothing, had to start our lives over, and we did. And look what we do now our magazine this year is 27 years old, so I don't think we did bad, starting over.
Really?
But when we got to this country, we got jobs within a week, both of us. Had to reinstate social security numbers, all kinds of stuff. And they were like, "Oh, you want some refugee money?" We're like, "We're not refugees. We're just getting jobs and starting over." And within 2 years, we said, "That's not for us. We don't do well working for other people." But we were in the music industry when we did move over and everything. But I tried to go to college for theater, musical theater. That was what I was interested in because my voice is kind of actually more suited for that. And I loved shows like the Rocky Horror that were different. I know, Joe, that's not your thing. But like Hair, like when I watched Hair, I thought Hair just was because, and I think Broadway and everything has done so much because I think there's TV and everything's really great. But Joey, for you, it's got to be different because you're audio, you're listening, not necessarily watching, right?
Yeah, it is different.
So you're hearing it, but there's an energy that comes from being in a live production.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big musical theater fan. I went to musical theater summer camps when I was late in my teens, and I've been in Godspell and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then I've also I played in the orchestra for tons of stuff, like Little Shop of Horrors and Grease and all kind of stuff. But it's interesting. You talked about, people saying all the lines in the movie theater. We had that same thing. We actually, when we did our theatrical production at the college, we actually gave out prop bags when people came in. And so people were, but we said, listen, enjoy yourselves tonight. Here's the rubber glove and here's all the different little props and enjoy yourself. But don't disrupt what's happening on stage. You know, the only night we had, interesting, this is a Halloween show. The only night that was tricky, we did two shows on Halloween. One at 7 p.m. and then one at midnight. And the midnight show was raucous. I mean, it was out of control. People were dressed up, you know, and were really having a good time. I think they maybe started drinking before they got there, but it was a raucous show. And there was a guy that was a flasher that came to the show, and
no way.
Sorry,
that's funny.
He was flashing people, and it was, oh God, it was crazy. But I mean, it was nuts. It was. So most of the shows were very, very, you know, people had fun, but they were very respectful. But that midnight Halloween show was a little intense. But I love musical theater. I mean, I think it's fantastic, and there's a magic between performer and audience that you just can't get with something that's recorded. I mean, even like I said, I love music and I love listening to people's albums, but seeing a live show is always going to be and my favorite way of experiencing any kind of art.
Live albums are, to me, better than anything because it's just so more authentic. But I didn't get to go to college because I got the funding. They gave me there was like a thing where I can't remember the term for it. But there was like funding available, like a scholarship thing, and I was accepted and all of that, but they wouldn't let me go to college because I had all my records because they needed to get duplicate records just in case from South Africa. And at the time, South Africa was in an upheaval, and the headmaster of our school had a heart attack and had passed, and all hell was breaking out. And so they couldn't get duplicate records. So I couldn't go to college.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
That's the reality. That's what happened. And I've done a number of interviews with people who have immigrated here into this country and have gone through the same rigmarole as me, but they really pushed to keep going. You know, that was their big deal. And I just went, hey, I'm in the music industry and anyway, so I'll just go with that. And so I never kept fighting for it because he also had to survive, you know?
Sure.
So I just looked at them going, I am an American citizen.
Yeah.
You know, and so you know what happened to my, my high school diploma? Am I allowed to tell it? We lived in Mexico for a little while, and our next door neighbor, a dear friend, had a beach buggy that was from Aruba and had Aruba license plates. And so we needed to update the paperwork on it. So I had a Dutch logo on my high school diploma, and Nancy was doing some things and photoshopping and scanning and doing some things. And somehow she didn't just scan it in, she cut it off my high school diploma.
Yeah, well,
anyway, so shenanigans happens once in a while. But anyway, and I've never had to use it anyhow because here we are, you know. So things happen in life, and you just keep going, and you know, you love the music and everything, but I love interviewing musicians. You know that, Joey. That's a passion of mine, especially independence, to keep that in the forefront, and the theater and the arts is so big. So I do want to say, speaking of music, so we've got a music playlist that is put together. Number one, I did get to interview Martin Fitzgibbon this year. He was the original drummer for the Rocky Horror Picture Show when it was in the little hole in the wall in London. And, the whole thing. And so he wrote a memoir called Behind the Curtain, My Life in Rocky Horror. So that link is in the episode notes. We also have a music playlist for your enjoyment. You can listen to it on Spotify. It is called Ghosts and Devils, the Mysterious and the Supernatural. So I think we were all into aliens when we made this anyway. So one of the songs on there, Joey, I think you've got some music on there, I do believe. And our friend Johnny Schaefer's song, I want to give him a shout out, who put the ghosts there, is on there. His video went viral, like 1 or 2 million views, which is pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's on there so you guys can check it out. But now let's talk about music. Joe, what is your Halloween style of music? I might have to add something to this list here, this music playlist.
The Ghostbusters music is always fun.
That's because they have marshmallows that melt.
Well, yeah, there's that.
It's a great song.
It is.
I ain't ready to go Ghost.
Ghostbusters. That's such an 80s
some of
song,
the old, but some of the old songs, we had some, I wish I'd pulled out my CDs. Cause when I was teaching, the whole month of October, I would play spooky music and Halloween music in the background while the kids were working on the computers.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
If you don't get this right, you're going to get a visitor in the middle of the night.
True. That's true. But there was, I'm
think a little bit.
Black Magic, the old, Black Magic
Woman.
Yeah, good Santana song too. Yeah.
Well, I was going way back for
that Black Magic.
The real Black Magic. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great song. Big band.
Monster Mash.
Of course.
I had a CD of similar things, and that was fun.
And then there's Witchy Woman.
Yes, definitely Witchy Woman.
Elaine Seinfeld's favorite song.
I didn't know that.
Really?
Well, that's not what she called it.
No, if you have to watch that episode of the guy who Desperado, whatever. She had a boyfriend that she was dating on, Elaine from Seinfeld. And every time he heard the song Desperado, everything stopped and it was Desperado. So she was like, well, we should have our song and be Witchy Woman. And he just looked at her like, no. And so they broke up over it. Witchy Woman. That's how I figured.
You have to have Thriller. I mean, that's
Thriller. Yes.
In fact, we used to, I don't know if they still do it, but in downtown Macon, I know at least for about 5 years, they had a Thriller dance competition, and the whole downtown area was just full of people in costume doing the Thriller dance, and it was a lot of fun. And I never participated in the dance part because I didn't want to be part of that big, huge. I mean, it was like a crazy big crowd, and I was like, this is not the place for a blind man to try to dance. But when I actually competed in ballroom dancing and all that kind of stuff, so I did that for years in my early 20s, and cool. I graduated from high school when I was 14, so I didn't go to my own prom because everybody was 18, I was 14. But as I got in my later teens and early 20s, I was asked a lot of dances, and I thought, well, I need to know how to dance. So I got into like ballroom dancing and other Latin dancing and all this stuff, and did competitions at Disney World and all this stuff. So I liked dancing, but the crowd was just crazy big, and but it was really cool because you'd hear that Thriller song being blasted on a huge PA system downtown Macon, about I don't know 10 o'clock at night. And it was so much fun. It was just neat to be on the edge of the crowd and enjoying the atmosphere.
Yeah. There's the Addams Family.
Yeah.
And I mean,
the Addams Family.
That's a great song. That's a great song. And if you sing the first 3 or 4 notes, you feel like you have to snap. It's like the snapping's compulsory.
It's mandatory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think the creepy music, but then there's all kinds of ghost songs like Ghost Riders in the Sky.
Sure.
Something like that. And so anything ghostly is good with me, Spirit in the Sky. I know that's not supposed to be, that kind of spirit, but
you can make it that way if you want to.
You can do whatever you want to do, man. Yeah. It's a good thing. Music
Spell on You.
Well, that's a good one.
That's it.
Classic.
I Put a Spell on You, and that's an old blues song that Creedence took over and did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
But who really did it was Nina Simone, man. She knocked it out of the park. I Put a Spell on You. She gives me the shivers when I listen to her, man.
Absolutely.
She's good, and she's from around here too. I think Tyrone, North Carolina? Tryon. That's it.
Try. Tryon.
Try me.
You were close.
I don't know. I see signs and I'm like, dang, Nina Simone's from there. I gotta go, But yeah, put a spell on you. But the best is Season of the Witch. Not Donovan.
That's cool.
I know you love Donovan, Nancy, but
yeah,
Dr. John did Season of the Witch better than anybody's ever done it that I've ever heard. Dr. John, when I look in my window. It's so good.
Okay.
It's strange. He's so good. It's like, it's such a good bluesy thing. And I think if you listen to anything from the Doors or Jim Morrison, you might as well call it Halloween.
Yeah.
Just, this is the end. That could be
Mr.
it.
Mojo Rise. That's right.
Oh, yeah. I was, we were doing some playlist and I put in, I don't know if it was for your live day, Joey, or the Hurricane playlist. I mean, Joey Stuckey has what? How many songs did I do for your live day? Oh my gosh.
290 is my recollection.
Dang, dude. Why did I say I would do it? But it was really cool to do. It was about inspiration. And I think I put Peace Frog on there. But when you really listen to the words, then it's like peace, all of that. But you have, like we talked about, you have to go down to go up. And there's blood in my eyes up to my windshield and all these kinds of, it's a bloody song. It's a bloody song, Sunday, Bloody Sunday. That's some hell right there for you.
Yeah.
Great song.
It is a good song. That is a good song. So, Nancy, did you have any songs? I know you had the Addams Family. You like that with Joe.
Yeah, I love that. And then my grandmother used to sing, "Don't go down to the woods today. You're in for a big surprise." Yeah. And I'm like, okay, where the heck did that song come from? And is it even really a song?
We used to sing that in school.
Yeah, I've heard
you
it.
Don't want to hear, don't want to hear the other side of it.
No, but it's the Teddy Bears Picnic.
Right.
Oh.
And so when they get all the teddy bears together, apparently they misbehave a little bit, but I love that song because that was my granny's Halloween song.
Well, then I wonder if that inspired Bob Dylan to do the Bear Mountain Picnic, where everybody got slaughtered.
Could be. Ooh.
That's a bad thought.
No, Bear Mountain Picnic is a crazy song, man.
That's a.
But then we got the Tombstone Blues. I like that song. Ooh, we got to put that on there. Mama's in the Factory. A good version of that was Sheryl Crow did she partnered with the American Express back in the day. I think this is like in the early 2000s. And she was really at her peak, of success. And American Express would do Madison Garden events, just pop-ups. And have big stars come out and just perform, and nobody knew. It was just like a free-for-all kind of thing. And it was sponsored by American Express, and you were just lucky if you were there and it happened, right?
Huh.
And it was Sheryl Crow, Eric Clapton, Stevie Nicks. God, the list is insane. It was right after she had dated, her and Eric Clapton had split up at that point. But it's the best album she's put out was that. And There Goes the Neighborhood is on there. So I can't remember what year 100% this was. Had to be after 2003, 2000. I don't know. Anyway, this album rocks it. And she did Tombstone Blues with the girls from Natalie Maine's The Dixie Chicks, or the Chicks, excuse me.
The Chicks now, yeah.
The Chicks, yeah. And they did the Tombstone Blues like you've never heard before. Yeah, it had to be before 2003 because we used to cover it that way back in our music days. We used to run hoot nights and do our music and everything for Forum, and we used to cover Tombstone Blues in that style. It's amazing. It's kind of like how Joan Osborne on that album we always talk about, Joey, that we both love with Joan Osborne, when she did the Man in the Long Black Coat.
Right.
How she managed to just take Dylan, and so many musicians do, right?
Oh,
but
yeah.
he's got some, the songs like the Long Black Veil and Johnny Cash covered that too. I don't know who wrote it. She Walks These Hills in a Long Black Veil, and Rolling Stones did it with the Chieftains. God, there's so many songs like that. If you listen to old folklore, not folklore, folk music, folk songs that have, it's all about death and then about people dying over lovers. And anyway, this is a nice conversation.
No, but there's Psycho Killer. That's a pretty good Halloween song.
Psycho Killer. Yeah. From Talking Heads.
Talking Heads.
Yeah.
I love the Talking Heads. Yeah.
That's a great song.
Yeah. And Burning Down the House.
And,
Firestarter.
I put a spell on you. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's what Joe had that. Yeah. Put a spell on you.
Yeah. So, and then Superstition.
There
that's it.
Oh, yeah.
I should have thought of that one.
That Superstition, that wins.
We play that all the time.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the best songs ever written, I think.
I totally agree. And it's by Stevie Wonder, another blind man. So I gotta love that.
And Black Magic Woman, I still love it. But listen, I want to go to the original, which was the original Fleetwood Macs that did it, not Carlos Santana.
Right.
He did an amazing job, but the original with Fleetwood Mac, when it was John Mayall, you've got Peter Green and everyone in there, and this is before Lindsey Buckingham, and of course you got Mick Fleetwood and John McVie in there. The original Black Magic Woman. The way they did the drums, it had this underlying bass that was just, they're just two different versions. Both are good, but there's just something in it because of Peter Green.
Do you know that I have never heard that version?
Oh, Joey, I'm going to turn you on. I'm going to send you some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I've played the Santana version like a million times. That was one of the covers. That's one of the covers we used to do and still do on occasion. I'll tell you another, I guess if you were talking Halloween songs, we can go to Grateful Dead for Friend of the Devil.
Oh, duh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and the devil went down to Georgia.
Absolutely.
Devil went down to Georgia.
But he's got another song that I can't remember the name of, that's about a spooky woman that lives in the swamp. Charlie Daniels does, but I cannot think of the name of it. I'd never heard it before. And I got to see him play live twice, and I got to go backstage and hang out with him both times.
You had posters in your recording studio when we came to see you from him.
That's right, yeah. And I'd never heard the original version, but I heard it live, and then I went back and found it. Oh, gosh, I can't think of the name of that song. But anyway, that would be another good one. Any kind of a spooky,
The Legend of Woolly Swamp.
Oh, there you go.
That's right. I know that. Yeah, The Legend of. Oh, that's perfect. Good going.
How about I Want Candy?
Yeah, really, that should be part of it.
Now, there's two great versions of that song, but I'm partial to the Bow Wow Wow version.
Yeah. I'm with. Yeah,
but it was originally a song in like the '60s. I can't think of the original artist, but that was a cover. And of course, I don't know that it's a Halloween song, but it seems to me that the One-Eyed, Horned, Flying Purple People Eater is a great Halloween song.
That's on my track with all the things that go bump in the night and the ghosties and ghoulies and Monster Mash. The kids loved that one.
Okay, so I have to go back to Fleetwood Mac because it's a creepy song too, and it's cool. Is the Green Manalishi? Okay, I'm gonna have to send Joey I'll probably drive you nuts now.
Yay!
They did a whole bunch with Otis Spann. I've like this whole CD box collection of their records. Then they recorded all these. Anyway, it's kind of, I'll move on. I'll move on. Otherwise I'll do a whole show on it. It was Fleetwood Mac, because there's two different Fleetwood Macs. Again, not knocking either. Just saying the old school.
I knew they'd had different personnel, but I never realized they'd done Black Magic Woman with that.
It was written that was Santana took that and shined with it,
That's right.
Santana is amazing. I mean, he's all about, going up, transcend.
Absolutely.
We got to interview his wife, is an amazing drummer. She is just Cindy Blackman. She's amazing. She was the drummer for Lenny Kravitz, and she's got her own band, and she tours with Santana. And then, you know what? Tomorrow, we're interviewing some of the guys who were Santana's band during Woodstock.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. So that's going to be a fun thing. So talk about music. Joe, you got to hit us up with some food. Come on, let's get back to some food now. We got the music thing going. Food.
I know. Well, before I get into food, I got to answer your question. Y'all were trying to figure out who wrote The Long Black Veil. It was written by Danny Dill and Mary John Wilkin. And the first one to have a cutting of that and go with it was Lefty Frizzell.
Oh.
So there you go.
Nice.
Anybody with the name Lefty, you got to love.
You got to love Lefty.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
it's like
cool.
Fingers McGee or something. Yeah, it's a good.
But that song, I mean, so many people have covered that song. That is one of those songs.
That's those old criminal names. Fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to be Fingus or Fungus?
Yeah, either one.
Ew.
Well, come on. Eventually, we all become fungus.
Yeah, or fungi.
I thought we became dust.
That's right.
Well, I don't think so. I think
it's a process. Very scientific. It takes time.
Okay, so if you watch The Day of the Triffids.
Yeah, that's
so the Triffid plants come after people, which I always find interesting, and carnivorous plants are fascinating to me, like pitcher plants, Venus flytraps, all of that, right? Venus flytrap freaks out men. Joey, it's probably a good thing you're blind, because, you may not want to see it.
They have teeth. They have teeth.
They do.
They have teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
Little green spikes, and the two leaves come together like a mouth.
Yeah.
With spikes on each edge of
like
each
little
leaf.
teeth that mesh.
And how big are those plants?
Probably the size of your palm closed up, a little smaller.
Yeah.
Okay.
Smaller, a little smaller, but it looks like a taco. Looks like a fist opening and closing.
You find them in the forest, and a fly will land in because they have this kind of gooey, kind of scented thing on the bottom leaf, and then the fly goes in or an insect goes in, and boom, it closes. And there you are.
Said the spider to the
fly.
Jump right ahead. I bet. Yeah.
Great guitar impression.
Cool.
Sorry. Well, that was the old school Rolling Stone stuff, man. And,
So somebody tell me their favorite candy.
Oh,
Nancy, tell Joe your favorite little chocolate thing that you make me buy.
It doesn't have to be chocolate.
No, it's Nancy's thing. I'm just prodding her.
Which one?
You would like your little thing with the peanut butter in there. Come on.
You mean Reese's peanut butter?
That's it. She loves her Reese's.
Okay.
There's so many.
Then you need to get her a bottle of Lambrusco or Gamay to go with her Reese's peanut butter cups.
Ooh.
Okay, so I don't think we've had Lambrusco. It sounds Italian.
No.
What is it? Tell us about it.
It's a red, and it's a little bit effervescent and a little bit sweet, and it's lovely.
Wow. This is cool. So sweet. So you're pairing the sweet because that's what's interesting. Like M&Ms, when you're pairing the M&Ms with wine, are you looking as if it's M&Ms with or without peanuts? Does it make a difference?
Yeah, to me it does. Yeah, the M&Ms are, that's the sweet and the chocolate, and if you throw the peanuts in, then you're getting a lot more salty with it.
Yeah.
So
and you get some protein, and it keeps you from getting a little woo-woo too fast.
Well, that's true too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, this is.
Then you get into the Kit Kats have, the cookie layers and chocolate and cookie, and those are really, the Kit Kats go really well with like a Pinot Noir. Or again with like champagne or Prosecco.
What about Butterfinger? Because that's one of my favorites.
Oh, too. Yeah, I don't hand them out at the door. They go right in my mouth.
There you go.
That's great.
There.
Chardonnay.
One for you, one for
Chardonnay
kids.
with
One for you, one
Butterfinger.
for kids. Yeah.
Ooh, Chardonnay. The buttery Chardonnay.
You know, I'm not a big fan of Chardonnay except for like the steel, like stainless aged. If it's too heavy in oak, I don't enjoy the heavy oak. But I've had recently in the Finger Lakes, and then this past couple of weeks out in Sonoma, I've had some really nice Chardonnays
there's some good Chardonnays out there.
they had some light oak blended with the stainless, so it wasn't all stainless, but it wasn't all oak either. And back to the M&Ms. M&Ms are really good with port. Just saying.
Huh.
Think of that.
Oh, yeah.
That dark, sweet, black fig taste of the port is really good with that milk chocolate and the M&Ms.
Listen, port can come like port. I love port. Like, we got this port. From friends that went to Portugal, came back with port. The first time they tried to do it, they got nailed at customs. The next time they said, we know how to sneak it in, and they did. They got through, and the customs took the port, and he got mad. Like, our friend got mad at him. Like,
well, yeah.
they wanted to charge like $100 or something. And I know they didn't pay $100 for the bottle, but they got this port. And then
I was able to bring back at least 2 bottles.
I have to tell you, it was the most heavenly port. I've got photos of it somewhere, and I sent it to our friend Peggy from LDV Winery. I'm like, and it was like drinking velvet.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, I love port.
With chocolate fudge, if you have fudge or like brownies, it was probably one of the most.
Even a Mounds bar is really good with port.
M&Ms. I'd have an M&Ms, maybe without the, I don't care. Give it all to me. Anything chocolatey.
I brought back a couple of bottles of port when I was in the Azores, and I've hoarded it. I've got 1 glass left of that port.
Man, that's treasured stuff. It is.
It is.
It is. It comes out of a treasure chest, but I love that you're pairing, wines with candy. I've got some things from last year. We had fun with Linda Kassam, the food wine shopping diva. She's on our show every first Saturday, and we always have these amazing chats with Robert Schuler, who is like the dude of Melissa's Produce, comes on shows with us. And Melissa's is the largest exporter or importer of distributor of specialty produce in this country. So when you go to the grocery store, you're going to see their beautiful golden baby potatoes, the gem potatoes, the baby Dutch potato. Oh, you're going to find, so if you see dragon fruit, which is fun for Halloween. So on the healthy side now, this is where I'm interested in this pairings. They have what they call freaky fruit for Halloween. So passion fruit I love the flower. That's one of my favorite flowers. I think it is my favorite flower. I grew up with it in Kenya, all over the place, and passion fruit would grow everywhere, just hanging on the vine, and then they get all wrinkly. And as they get wrinkly, you just open them up and you just suck those seeds out. It sounds delicious. So I sound like an alien right now, but an alien, this could look like an alien, thing with all the seeds in like a little cocoony kind of thing. But passion fruit is kind of cool. And it's sweet, and it still, depending, like I'll eat things that are not ripe. Like I eat unripe mangoes because they're good, but I'm weird. But a passion fruit, like I'm wondering about that. Would you go more sweet with something like that for a wine if you're going to have fruit? Fruit is interesting to pair with wine because of
it is. And, and you don't want to go opposites when you're pairing. You want something that complements, not contrasts. So I'd be looking for something a little sweeter, maybe a red or a white blend that's got a little more sweetness to it. Oh.
Now, they also have the Buddha's hand. Now, listen to Steve Schneickert's Hollywood History. The hand, come on, Peter Lorre stuff. Come on. You guys know what I'm talking about. So the Buddha's hand, it's a citrus and it's really cool. But what people do is they use that in like vodka or gin for a cocktail, which would be kind of cool to put a finger in it. I'm just saying. And then,
right.
Come on, things like that. But I like the dragon fruit, which is really sweet. They have, when you see them in stores, it comes from Melissa's. And I'm just giving them a good shout out because Nancy, how much produce have we had from them over the years? And
it's great.
They ship it. Really, most people get it from the grocery store. In the specialty food department, you got crepes to go. You don't have to make them yourself. There's all kinds of healthy snacks that I love. But when it comes to things like blood orange, come on, you can put that into a cocktail or a blood orange for those who do not drink alcohol, like Joey doesn't drink. Joey, you want to have a fancy drink, don't you? Like,
absolutely.
Blood orange with a little fizz to it would be cool for you, right? For those who want a little splash of a they can do it. But if you don't want the you could have the blood orange instead of just regular orange juice. A blood orange makes all the difference in the world to me.
And pair it with a Three Musketeers bar.
Okay, I'll try it.
All right.
Yeah.
Orange goes well with chocolate.
Yeah, it's really good with it.
Chocolate. Orange chocolate goes. And what? The blood oranges.
Chocolate oranges that you get at Christmas that you crack apart.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite thing.
When we were in Milan last year, we were about, like 2 doors down. Our hotel was 2 doors down from this bakery. And one of their specialties was a chocolate croissant with orange marmalade cooked in the middle of it. And boy, it was so orange goes great with any kind of chocolate. It was amazing. And I did not gain any weight. I'll tell you, we had breakfast at this bakery every morning about 6 a.m. But we had to walk so much because you have to walk a lot in Europe that our weight was stable. We didn't gain any weight, but we should have as much of the pastries that we had in Italy.
I do want to give everyone this cool recipe for a drink.
All right.
And I'm going to link this in the episode notes, everyone. But it's, and they did have Witch's Cauldron popcorn, which was really good. But
now what's that?
They had popcorn, kettle corn, and it's all different colors, and it's like from the Witch's Cauldron. So you got like dark green and orange and yellows and stuff, which is fun.
That is fun.
So, and that's kind of on the healthier side too. That's what I kind of like about this side. Joe's on the complete naughty, and I'm trying to be the little nice side, but I'm not. But, but this recipe, y'all, come on. This is fun. All right. So, I want to talk about cadaver parties with Joey. See, and Joe, I want to talk about cadaver parties. Lime slime punch. This is what they do. This will serve 6 to 8 people. So Melissa's has white chia seeds, and chia seeds, you know what? I have friends that hike the Appalachian Trail and Pacific Crest Trail and do all those things that I'm like, yeah, good for you. I'm going to cheer you on. But chia seeds are what people will eat to get so much protein to keep going. And so anyway, they take
chia pudding.
Well,
nice.
Now here's your cocktail. You take your chia seeds, 6 tablespoons, you put it with 2 cups of warm water, 2 cups of limeade, and then some green food coloring. And it looks seriously like something came out of a witch's mouth when it's done. It looks all bubbly and
slimy.
Slimy. And by the way, the other thing you should get is rambutans because they look like eyeballs when you open them up. It's like a reddish it's like a fruit, it's like a size, it's like a lychee. And then if you cut them open, they're hairy and red on the outside, and then it looks like a lychee, but it looks like eyeballs on the inside, and you can paint them. Anyway, sorry. I'm getting weird about
No, I think that's cool because when I was a little kid, my mom, I was a really sick child. And I'm a brain tumor survivor, and I had it as a child, and I was a really sick child. And so she always wanted me to have, when I was healthy enough to do stuff, she always wanted me to have every experience. And my mom put together a haunted house, and she used to do this thing where you would put your hand in a bowl.
That's the cadaver party.
Yeah. It was fantastic.
And they were peeled grapes.
Yeah, peeled grapes and all kinds of stuff.
I've done that.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We had such a good time.
That's it. Because Nancy would have. So growing up in Kenya, South Africa, England, at those days they did not have Halloween. Now the Western world has taken over,
right?
And everyone's having Halloween, even England, right? But Nancy would have Halloween parties because she loves Halloween, and get everybody together, and we have costume parties. We used to have a lot of theme parties, like come as you were in your previous life party. We had children's parties, like everybody came as their kid with your toy.
Brought a toy,
And by the end of the night, everyone was fighting over their toys with each other.
Oh,
seriously, adults.
Yeah.
Hearing this explains so much.
But so anyway, Nancy would have these Halloween parties and like explain, she used to teach people how to make hamburgers, it was like a whole different world. But, Halloween was a big deal. So she would have what was called the cadaver party and get everybody together, do the seancey stuff. Everybody gets dressed up and crazy. And what she put in bowls, it was always naughty parts. I mean, there was sausages in there. Then there were 2 eggs, hard-boiled eggs. And she says, just feel them. Don't squish them. I mean, there were things in that bowl that you never knew that got passed around under the table. This is not good for COVID, but things, everybody like mincemeat, cauliflower. I mean, she went to town making exactly what you're talking about, Joey. Cadaver party, and whoever guessed the amount or whatever would win something. Another squeeze at something. Joe, did you do this as a kid on Halloween?
No, not as a kid, as an adult.
Well, good for you. That's great.
She's just, I get to start feeling things under the table as an adult. You've graduated.
That's right. That's right.
I think that's fun.
But it is. We did the same thing. We had someone do a fortune teller, and we had, of course, the classic bobbing for apples. You got to have that.
Yeah.
Which I was absolutely god awful at, but I just got in there and tried like everybody else. And then we had my mom made all kinds of wonderful pumpkins, and all kinds. We would do the toasted pumpkin seeds as an hors d'oeuvre, and we had that. And my mom really was gifted as a party, like I guess like a hostess or a party planner, whatever you would call it. And she would do all kind of really elaborate pumpkin carvings, and she would make straw people and put them in the chairs, and like the lawn chairs. And then she would take all kind of lights and put sheets over them, make ghosts out in the yard. And I mean, it was the work was incredible. And we would have my entire school class would come over and do stuff, and it was really magical. And we'd play we'd play spooky sounds, spooky music. And at that time, we lived in a house that had a speaker in every room when I was a kid, and so you'd have all the different sounds going through the house. It was really a lot of fun. I, of course, as a blind kid with a knife is not really a great idea, so I never carved pumpkins myself, but she used to let me paint on them or draw on them or whatever.
That's hard.
Yeah,
it's harder than you think. You think it's easy to do it. I had this experience once in my life as an adult because I'd never done it because I don't even think we had pumpkins like that. And I was like amazed, like, wow, this is a ton of work that people do. It's like making scarecrows and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work.
Did all that. Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Joe, what did you do growing up in Virginia as a kid? Like,
trick or treating. Like? Man, we would my girlfriends and I would dress up and we would walk. If we were in a group, after we were old enough to go alone, as long as we were in a group of 3 or 4, we would just walk. Every house was handing out candy, because everybody knew everybody. So it was a nice neighborhood, and we would walk up and down both sides of our street, and then we would turn and go down Chatham Heights and go down the next street down to the bottom of it and back up. And I remember one year we walked. I'll have to go back someday and measure how far that was. I know we went back to one of our houses and dumped our bags because they were getting so heavy, and we left with empty bags to start out again.
Wow.
So, did you do trick or treating, Joey?
Yeah, we did. Sometimes we'd have the parties and we did that instead of trick or treat. We'd give out little, like gift bags. But sometimes we wouldn't do that. We'd go trick or treating. And like the costumes typically, when I was a kid, people were not doing cosplay. There were not a lot of options out there. So you had to typically sew your own stuff. But I would always, if there was a costume, I remember that my mom bought me that was a Star Wars costume because they were popular enough to be in the stores. And so she bought me, like, I think I went as C-3PO one year. I know I went as a cowboy. I know I went as a clown. I went as a cat one time. I remember that. And my last trick or treat as a kid, they had just opened up the Jacksonville. I was just when I went to Jacksonville, Florida. They had just opened up the Jacksonville landing, and they had a huge Halloween walk where you could walk and get candy from all these different places, and it was really cool. And my mom made me a Star Trek uniform, and I loved it. And so she sewed it, and I mean, it took her weeks to
wow
to make this thing. But that was the last time I went as a kid, and then that was probably 13, maybe 14 when I did that. And then I skipped a year or two, and then started going again as a teenager and adult, and I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Jennifer and I used to, when we first got married, we used to carve pumpkins and go out to Halloween parties and stuff like that. And we haven't done it for a little while with COVID and other things like that. But the only thing about Jennifer, my lovely wife, is that she's a nurse, and she really wimped out of the costume because she'd wear scrubs and go, I'm going as a nurse. I was like, oh, that's so wrong.
Yeah, but you got you know what? Listen, Nancy and I live in scrubs. That's what we wear as pants because we pits it.
Well, I mean,
and they're easy to travel.
It makes sense. They can get clean too.
They are. They're real easy.
But I just think of the Halloween costume. If you are actually a nurse.
I think that's one
pretty
thing
low. That's pretty low hanging.
If you go as yourself, that's not a costume.
Well, Nancy, I remember Nancy. I don't think it was a Halloween, but it was a punk party because again, all these theme parties, and she went and she dyed. It was like a punk party, but she dyed her hair almost. And Nancy and I used to be clowns, right? Like when we part of our come back into this country, we were clowns.
I did not know that.
No, yes, I didn't either.
Clown.
And it was fun
something on every show.
We were clowns for a little bit. We were raising money for Helen Woodward Animal Center, and we made coloring books and sold coloring books to raise money. And we'd go to street fairs, and I've chased people. I mean, it's crazy. And people really are scared of clowns.
Yeah.
And that's what, and then I just think it's funny. Yeah. Like you'll be at a street fair dressed as a clown, and you're doing stuff to raise money for animals, and somebody will scream and really be scared. And I'm like, you're so full of it. So then I start chasing them and realize I can't run in these shoes. I'm going to plow down, ruin the makeup. And then people come up and start attacking you. Did you go to clown school? Do you know these rules? You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to smoke or drink or do any of this. And we're sitting there going, well, we're going to have a little wine on this side. No, you can't.
You kicked the train, the little kid.
I went after the train guy because he hit our thing. I did. I chased the train guy because he kept hitting our display, a little choo-choo train thing at a festival. And eventually I had to chase him because he kept zeroing and hitting our booth and he wouldn't stop. Yeah. Yep. And I was just like, you know what? So I just said, I'm coming after you with my big clown shoes and a little stronger language.
A little bit different.
And then I realized I really can't run. I can't. Every time I start to run and then you can't.
Said, I'm going to put this shoe right up your.
I did. I did say that.
Good. Well, it sounds like he deserved it.
But anyway, Nancy, going back to Nancy, getting into this punk. So she dyed her hair like rainbow, like this is Nancy's being a punk. She does tie-dye to her hair, but she gave herself some crazy way of doing an afro, and it never went away. The color never went away, none of it. And she needed to go back to work, and her hair was this big, thick. It's weird because Nancy and I both have flat, straight, like you ain't doing anything hair. And next thing you know, she's got this, like crazy
pink and
like,
blue and green afro.
It's exact with a streak of yellow. And she looked like the clown. That's why I bring up the clown. It was like a clown head.
Funny.
And so and then she actually had to cut her hair.
Yeah.
To get it back to normal, which is, I think this is the fun stuff in life. And when things like that happen, if bosses get mad, like, come on, have some fun, loosen up. Halloween allows us to step outside of our box and try something new. And I think it's a good thing,
Absolutely.
To stretch yourself out and do some crazy things. But, oh my gosh, everybody. Oh, hold on. Hey, everyone, I think she's coming. I hear that. Do you hear it? It's weird. Do you guys feel that vibe coming in through? Joe, do you feel it?
Yes, I do. I feel something.
Joey, do you feel it?
In the air.
Absolutely.
Man, she even kind of smells. I think she's coming. She's coming. Oh boy, everybody. Mama Babushkah, is that you?
What do you want?
Are you here? You're here?
What do you want? I hear. Of course.
We haven't heard from you for years.
I've been busy.
Well, you've got to give, you're coming to give our friends here on the podcast, like some readings for we've had these really crazy super moons from the last big full moon to the latest one. It's been a little choppy weather. Can you do anything to help that? I mean, you're Mama Babushkah after all.
Not big super moon. Super moon is my new makeup.
You have a makeup line now?
Well, I have makeup. I put it on and I got super moon face.
You have a moon face? Do you eat moon pies?
Of course. What else do you eat?
Well,
you'll need to embrace the sky.
Is that our thing? The sky. That's what we need to do.
The sky. Yes. You can't just always look at the ground. Must look up.
Well, I want to introduce you. I know you probably already know because you apparently know everything. To Joey and Joe. We got two Joes on the show. How cool is that?
We did.
But Joe Clark is here. I don't know if you've heard any of our conversation, but Joe knows how to put candy with wine. What do you think about that?
Well, to do that for breakfast, you do it for lunch, and you double for dinner.
Joe.
That sounds like good advice.
Yeah.
Now, what about fruit? Fruit has got to be good in there too, right? I want some fruit because the fruit makes wine. I'm just saying. Can I add that in there too?
Yeah, but you must pick bees out first. I don't want the bees in my fruit.
Okay, well, because you're the bee's knees, I suppose. Joe, would you like a reading from Mama Babushkah? It's very rare that we get to hear from her. We haven't heard from her for years.
Yes. Tell me what my future holds.
Well,
do you have anything in specific? Anything in specific you want to know, Joe?
No, just whatever Mama sees.
Uh-oh.
Okay. But she has wide expanse in vision. So when the wider the expanse in vision, the more confusing it gets. Sometimes better pick and choose, then go back and do it again. Till you find what it is.
Well, then where will I travel next?
I think you should go opposite from wherever you've been.
Okay.
Look something different, somewhere you never thought you would want to go.
But, Joe goes everywhere. I want to go everywhere.
Well, get started. Go to all of it. Let's go to Iceland.
That sounds interesting. Never been.
I've always wanted to go to Iceland. Yeah.
There's fire and ice there. And there's ghosts living in the ice.
Mm-hmm.
And the waterfalls. There's haunted people and myths.
Haunted waterfalls in Iceland. That sounds like an article.
It does.
And you can get bread made by the geothermals.
Yep.
Ooh.
They cook it in the hot water or something.
But don't be dumb like tourists and wash your hand in thermal pool. It hurts.
No. No, I won't be a dumb tourist.
Thank you.
I don't think Joe's a dumb tourist, but Mama Babushkah, can you give another reading for Joey Stuckey? He's been on our show for years, and I don't think he's ever met you. Joey, I don't think you've met Mama Babushkah yet.
I have not. It's an honor.
Well, thank you. You'll see more than you think. You look inside all the time.
Yeah.
He is visionary on the inside, which is way big difference from visionary outside.
That is true. That is very true.
Double the power.
Double the power. I like it.
Does he get pleasure too?
Of course.
That's private.
Joey, do you want to ask Mama Babushkah anything?
Well, I do have a question. I want to know if it's safe for me to actually drive at some point in the future. I don't want to hurt anybody, but I always wanted to experience driving. So we gotta see if you have any predictions about if that will ever be safe.
You can do that if you arrange right. You got to get the right people. Go to the racetrack.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Go to the racetrack. Go to drivers. You have passenger seat. Okay?
Yeah.
So you get good passenger. They advise you.
Yeah.
And right from left.
I do.
Okay. They say inch over right. Oh, too far, a little bit to the left. And
what I want is to find a passenger that doesn't scream a lot. That would
take Mama Babushkah.
That won't be me.
Then you must take Lisa. She's
okay. I will take Lisa.
Bunch.
Yeah, she's good because I mean, yelling at me like, oh my God, is not helpful at all.
No, I will yell. I will yell if there's a problem. A real problem, but I don't care if we're going to go down. I just sit there. Seriously.
Yeah, good. Okay, good.
Oh, and take hood off car. No need.
Okay, okay, I'll do that.
That's called a bonnet in other places.
That's right.
I just had to say that.
In the UK.
It's the same thing. Take a bonnet off.
Take your bonnet off, Joey.
I do have a nice flowery bonnet.
Don't say that, Joey. Do not say that. In South Africa, you do not talk about bonnets in that way.
All right.
No, bonnet is a whole.
So I should not tell you that my dad also has a flowery bonnet.
No, do not say that.
Okay, all right.
Do not say that. Don't talk about any bonnets in any way.
No bonnet. Okay.
Mama Babushkah.
No, it sounds like a good song title.
It does.
No. Mama
My
Babushkah
dad has flowery bonnet.
Mama Babushkah.
Joey's next big hit.
That's say, the only big hit.
They're saying that by 2027 that we will have full contact with aliens and the other planets, that we will merge, and it will depend on what happens, here in this country, not getting political, but, how open we are to connectivity. So they're saying by 2027, this kind of immersion will happen. Do you think this will really happen?
It has happened from beginning of time. Aliens have been here for centuries.
So do you think have you seen aliens? Do they look like humans or are they different?
They look what they want to look like.
Great.
So they're
They have
shapeshifters?
they shapeshift.
Ooh.
They voice change. They mentally become new beings every
Ooh.
time they want.
Wow. Well,
So when you go to buy a house, you could be shaking hands with alien who sells you house.
ooh. Ooh. I hope we're not put in
Hmm
a cell, like a little cocoon thing, or with any things and places we don't want. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mama Babushka. It is always,
You're welcome.
just pleasure to have you, come through. We haven't talked to you for so long. It's always good to have contact with the Babushka.
Thank you. You pay bill, I come back again.
Wow. So we got the Babushka. Oh my gosh, that's
We
quite
did.
amazing.
How
We haven't
exciting.
had her on the show for so long. But we want to thank everyone for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Halloween party. We're getting ready because it is October 31st when it happens, but I think we're all celebrating all week long because why not? It's fun. Go for it. Do it. Go as many parties as you can. Get as much candy as you can, just like Joe does. She knows how to fill those bags. Go girl.
I do.
I don't want to
I
see you on
do.
Black Friday. Holy cow, you scare me. Go in and wipe out Walmart, but and have a cocktail afterwards, have wine. But everyone, we're going to go off and do our annual airing of Steve Schneickert's Hollywood History of Halloween. So stay tuned, enjoy it. Thank you all for joining us, and stay spookalicious, y'all. Thank you, Joey.
A pleasure, friends.
Always fun to have you on. Every fourth Sunday, Joey is here. Keep up with him at joeystuckey.com. Thank you, Joe, for joining us. You're always so much fun, and we can't wait to keep up with you. She'll be back on Big Blend Radio. She's got her Joe Goes Everywhere show every second Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and I think we're going to be hearing about what she did out in the Redwood Country.
Yes,
I think
definitely.
she drank a lot of wine. I have a funny feeling. Looking forward to that. Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye,
Happy Halloween.
One, two, the count's coming for you. 3, 4, lock the door. 5, 6, have a crucifix. 7, 8, stay up late. 9, 10, never sleep again. In all the annals of living horror, one name stands out as the epitome of evil. I am Dracula. The very mention of his name brings to mind things so evil, so fantastic, so degrading. You wonder if it's not all a dream, a nightmare. Rats, thousands, millions of them. But no, this is no dream. This is Dracula. A maniac, a man who lived after death, lived on human blood, took the form of a vampire bat, and lured women to a fate truly worse than death. Back from the grave, back to thrill and chill you with Bela Lugosi, the master of horror, as the undead fiend. I want to suck your blood. He did the mash. He did the monster mash. He did the mash. It was a graveyard smash. Millions have been thrilled. Millions are waiting to be thrilled by the greatest horror ever known. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. When this dead hand moves, the monster created by a man they called mad is sent loose to strike terror in the hearts of men, to shock women in uncontrolled hysteria. To prey upon the innocence of children. This is a story, a spine-tingling, blood-curdling story that will stun your emotions. See Boris Karloff in his most terrifying performance as the fiendish monster, and you will know why there can never be another Frankenstein. Neat, sweet, petite. The house is a museum where people come to see 'em. They really are a scream. I got it. I got it. I locked it up. The horrible hand cannot escape anymore. Now it cannot get out. It can't. The story of an evil hand. A piano alone in silence mysteriously plays again. Its anonymous chords playing again and again, filling up the house with stark terror. A concerto of death. The problem music of a dead man, played by a hand that returned from the grave to wreak vengeance on its betrayers, striking with human power. A horrifying monster that receives its evil commands from beyond. It cannot return to the tomb until it completes its missions of destruction. It is a fear-charged journey into unknown realms of mystery. While you sleep, be wary of the hand. Cause of death? Fright. Read all about it. Read all about it. A scientist who discovers a parasite in human beings called a tingler, which feeds on fear. The creature earned its name by making the spine its host tingle when the host is frightened. It curls up, feeds, and grows stronger when its host is afraid, effectively crushing the person's spine. If curled up long enough, the host can weaken the creature and stop its curling by screaming. The centipede-like creature slithers during the night when the temperatures are cool. This Halloween night, walk with caution. If you feel or notice something slithering up your leg and attaching on, make sure you scream. It will weaken its hold on you. If you're not convinced that you have a tingler of your own, the next time you're frightened in the dark, do not scream. Trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. I am Steve Schneickert, and this is Halloween Hollywood history as I recall it.